CSSL's research study on school climate showed that student safety is a key cause for concern among the government schools and the private schools in India. About 60% of students in government schools report abuse, while this number is still larger in the private schools at 70%. On unpacking this further, we found that 42% of students report teacher abuse, and there is no marked difference between the extent of abuse in a government school or a private school. Now this number is very large and cannot be taken lightly. So this led us to start a video study to record the voices from the ground to understand what is meant by abuse among these different stakeholders and what could be the possible reasons for this abuse. So these focus group discussions among the parents, teachers and students were done in different sessions across the different schools. As we started these focus group discussions, we initially wanted to check if there is a common understanding of the term abuse among the different stakeholders.
According to me, one is physically and one is mentally, but both involve making the other person feel negative about themselves.
Physically means hitting or something, and then mentally can be telling something bad that could hurt a person's feeling. So in both the ways, the person breaks down.
मतलब किसी व्यक्ति या वस्तु का अपमान करना.
Physical abuse, you also have mental abuse, and you have vocal abuse, verbal abuse. So a person is humiliated or insulted against one's wishes.
Corporate punishment, teacher beating up the children.
Wherein we are using some wrong language or some wrong action, which is hurting other person emotionally, physically, mentally, all the ways.
The definitions we got were quite similar to what the literature review says. However, on exploring further with vignettes or short stories of incidents that happens in schools, like the teacher making the student run around the ground, or beating the child, or scolding the child as a failure and wasting parents' money if the child gets poor marks in classroom, or if the child is coming late and making the child stay back after the school and clean up the classroom, or making the child wait outside the classroom. And when such vignettes were shared, we found that the stakeholders had something very different to say.
It depends on a child's perspective.
बारीक डिफरेंस आ जाता है कि एक तो हम जिसको हम अब्यूज कहते हैं, है ना, दैट इज व्हिच इज सोशली नॉट एक्सेप्टेड, जो हम सब बात कर रहे थे कि, या फिर जो नॉट फील गुड, दैट टाइप ऑफ फील गुड. माना कि बच्चों को अच्छा नहीं लगा होगा उसको अगर 3 छड़ी पड़ी हाथ पे तो, बट दिस इज समथिंग डिफरेंट. माना कि ये कुछ ऐसी चीज है कि जो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग डोज है बच्चे को और बहुत ज्यादा एक्सेप्टेबल भी नहीं है, बट देन इसको हम उस अब्यूज वाली कैटेगरी में नहीं डाल सकते.
The child doesn't understand what abuse is actually. The teacher might not do it with an intention of hurting the child, but child might think it's abuse.
The teacher apparently doesn't know that this is also a type of abuse.
It soon became apparent that while people may agree to textbookish or uniform definitions of abuse, they do not agree to a uniform classification of instances as abusive or not. Rather, they tend to justify their positions with their own contextual understanding. This shows that there is a mismatch and ambiguity into how they define abuse and how they interpret abuse in a real life context. We further wanted to explore how or what are the reasons for abuse.
Maybe the teacher has something else going on in their mind. The teacher itself wanted perfection, and then one small mistake.
That the teacher might also feel so bad. Whatever he's teaching is not even affecting.
Like the teacher may have a grudge against that child.
Teachers sometimes misuse their power.
If the student always repeats the same mistake and he also misbehaves in the class.
Teachers also, they are not getting accepted for whatever hard work they are doing, because it's not very easy job.
The children are not having any tolerance. The emotional, the stability of that particular students, they take it quite personally.
Letting out our frustration on a weaker personality where we won't get back.
The workload also matters, ma'am.
We might not even be conscious that we are doing that.
Individual teacher's character.
हम जिस सामाजिक परिवेश से आ रहे हैं वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं इस प्रकार की चीजें हो रही हैं और वो धीरे धीरे हमारे भी व्यक्तिगत मतलब व्यक्तित्व में, पर्सनालिटी में वो शामिल होता जा रहा है.
Nowadays, because of the lifestyle and all, parents also don't have any time for their children.
There was a fair mix of reasons that emerged that the causes for abuse were not only the teacher's own nature, but also systemic issues like having a very heavy workload, not having an outlet for their own pressures, not having adequate support on how to address deviant student behavior, not having support from parents on grooming their wards as to what is admissible behavior, and also overindulgence of parents leading to a situation where the teachers have to bear the brunt of saying no, etc. We also explored in these focus group discussions to see if there are any solutions emerging.
Training to the teachers, strict rules for punishing those who abuse.
Is the moral thinking, the morality of that person or the teacher should be changed.
Teachers should be told about the laws.
Get the reason behind it. I would talk to her personally.
मैम अगर मैं टीचर होती तो मैं उसके पेरेंट्स को भी कॉल करती.
We should also have counseling sessions for children, how to calm yourself down to think rationally.
The record of each and every child's behavior, how this child was handled by this particular subject teacher in that particular class, how the child behaved and how he was handled, and what was the response given. Was he improving in over a period of time?
We also have a counselor.
If I'm firm enough, with my classroom, I would not require to be a danda master.
Like if first time if they make mistake, if there is someone to guide them and stop them from there, I feel they don't repeat it.
The teacher can be a counselor to them, because I think 7th to 9th they still understand their teachers. They listen to their teachers to a greater extent, but then as we move up to classes 10th, 11th and 12th, they do need a counselor.
Some of the solutions that emerged call for more teacher training, equipping the teacher with counseling skills to handle up to grade 9, but to look for a special counselor for higher grades like 10, 11 and 12. There were also suggestions which showed that parents could not shy away from their responsibility for grooming their wards as to what is admissible behavior.